Before I start this video, let me just say that I am sorry. And I mean, I'm sorry. I started working on this a week ago, and I've just been so busy. I just apologise that you had to wait this long for it, since I started making it last week, which I mentioned to Mikey Angry Bird. I am just so sorry to all of you who actually wanted to see this. But it's here now, and I hope you enjoy the final product. Enjoy! And Mikey Angry Bird, you know what I want you to do. And make sure it's your first time watching it. Or please try and make it your first time watching it when you make your reaction videos. So, I'm watching you. So get your camera out right now, please. And start filming your reaction video. If it's your first time watching. I'm playing The Little Mermaid 2. I'm playing The Little Mermaid 2. I'm playing the beeping Little Mermaid 2. Hello, and this is Big Bang Bot, and today I will be reviewing The Little Mermaid 2 on the Sony PlayStation. Now, I can't really say much about this game's development cycle other than it's a game based on the 2000 Disney straight-to-DVD sequel of the same name. Now anyway, this game came out in North America on 2000 and Europe in 2001. And there was also a Game Boy Color version, which was a pinball game, and a PC version, which was a activity center game. Now, this game has received above average reviews. But it's a game based on The Little Mermaid. I can't expect it to be good. But it did receive above average reviews, so I guess I can kind of expect something okay. But it's a game based on the beeping Little Mermaid. While there are many games based on it, it's certainly not a good idea to expect this game to be too good. So anyway, let's play the game! Or I'm going to play the game, you're not actually playing it, but whatever. The story is that, well, what do you want me to say? The story basically follows the plot for both the first movie and the second movie. So if you want to know roughly what the plot is, you might as well watch these movies, even though it doesn't really go too much into detail on the original movie's plot and goes into more detail on the second movie's plot, which doesn't make too much sense, but at the same time it kind of does, because after all, it is based on the second movie, not the first movie. But still, if you want to know the story of the game, just watch the two movies. That's all I have to say. Okay? Now let's move on to the gameplay. The goal of the game is complete random tasks. And then after you complete all the random tasks that the game wants you to complete in a level, get to point B. I mean, it's not a very hard task, isn't it? Is it? Is it not? I don't know. In the game, there are a total of 12 levels. 5 from The Little Mermaid 1 and 7 from The Little Mermaid 2. And also 3 bonus games. In the game, there are a total of 4 playable characters. You have Ariel and Melody in 3 forms. Melody in a human form swimming underwater, which is the same as the mermaids, just, you know, she can't attack and she has limited air. Melody in her mermaid form, which is exactly the same as Ariel, and last but not least, you have Melody in her human form on land. And by the way, this level really reminds me of Tigger's Honey Hunt, but I'll get more into these types of levels later. As a mermaid, the controls are that you use the D-pad or the analog stick to move around, the X button to do your tail spin attack, and when you're standing still you do a different attack. Hold circle to go faster, use triangle to either do this spin around thingy or this shockwave thingy, which doesn't always work, which is really annoying. And you can use the L1 button or the select button to bring up those stats of your coins and pearls, which I'll get into later. You can use R1 to bring up your button commands, and you can use the start button to pause, and you can use the square button to make your partner talk.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
That's right, there's a make your partner talk, which is mostly Flounder, but sometimes it's Sebastian or Tip and Dash. And if you've watched the movie or even played the game, you should know who they are. The controls of the mermaid, for the most part, works just fine. You move around solidly, most of the time your attacks work. The faster movement definitely helps with level progression, and it always works. The only thing that really doesn't work is the shockwave, and also the spinning around thingy. They almost never work, but everything else works just fine as a mermaid, and you move around solidly, so there's that. But when you're Melody as a human on land, it's a bit different. You press the triangle button to jump, you hold circle to run, and to throw your projectile, you press X. And all I can say is that the sound effect when you hit these crabs is just hilariously stupid. Unfortunately, the controls for human Melody are not very good. They're stiff, the jumping feels delayed, and overall it just doesn't feel right. Plus, the jumping just feels so floaty, which just feels weird, and it just makes the platforming so weird here. In the game, there are two main collectibles. There are coins, and there's a total of 50 in each level, and then there's pearls, which, if you collect enough of them in the game, you'll unlock 3 different mini-games. And I'd also like to mention that if you collect all the coins, you'll collect a pearl, so that's worth mentioning. And there's also starfish, which restore your health. In case you're wondering what the mini-games are, you've got DDR mixed with Move to the Music from Mario Party-ish. There's also Bumper Balls from Mario Party, and that's all I have to say. It's Bumper Balls from Mario Party. It's the exact same thing, just without a time limit, which means that there won't be a beeping draw. So, yeah. And last but not least, you have whatever the beep this thing is. I can't say anything. There's literally nothing to say, other than the fact that it's called Bubble Game! The originality! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The game also has bosses! And there's 2 of them in the whole game. The first boss is against Ursula, which is a very easy boss. All you gotta do is hit the red potions at her with the tail attack, which actually works perfectly. And the green ones restore your health, and the blue ones restore Ursula's health. So, the key thing is, don't go near the blue ones. The end. And did I mention that this boss is easy? In fact, this boss is so easy that Sebastian actually tells you how to beat beat her. That is just lazy game design. But hey, it's for little girls, so whatever, I can get past that. The second and final boss is... oh no! Oh no! It's some platforming with this game. It's not very good platforming skills or just mechanics. This is madness. Why? This is not good. After that platforming section, you fight the villain of the second movie, Morgana, and just like Ursula, she's really easy. You just gotta know how to beat her. And it doesn't even take much knowledge to beat her, but at the very least Sebastian doesn't tell you how to beat her, which is better and does make her a tiny bit harder. And I mean a teensy tiny, little teensy tiny, teensy tiny, 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 tiny piece, just this tiny! No, it's like this tiny. It's too tiny for me to even measure. Graphically, the game looks fairly nice for a PS1 game released in 2000/2001. No, I mean, the textures don't look bad. They're smooth, the characters look how they should. And while there are frame rate issues, the game, it's not terrible, it doesn't break from the experience, and the game's still pleasant to look at. It's nice and colourful, and for a Little Mermaid game, it definitely looks good enough for me. In fact, before each level, there are cutscenes from the two movies. And all I can say is they're in fairly good quality, they look nice, and it's nice to see that they got actual movie clips, which do help explain the story a bit, but, you know, not a ton. But it's just a thing that I had to mention. The music in the game does sound like something you would find out of Little Mermaid, and it sounds decent. It's nothing super memorable, but it's peaceful, quiet, calm, and pleasant to listen to. It doesn't make you want to rip your ears out, but it doesn't make you want to dance with it, and it's not super memorable, but it's nice and peaceful, and it gets the job done. The sound effects are basic and nothing special, but they're not bad at all, and they're not irritating to listen to. And the voice acting does sound okay, but I don't really want to talk too much about voice acting, since I don't care about voice acting, and all I can say is it does sound like something you'd find from The Little Mermaid, as if they used the original actors for the levels from the first movie. I don't know, but hey, whatever. And before any of you go, oh, Big Bang Ball, why did you do research about the voice acting? It's because I don't care about the beeping voice acting. Now shut up before I do some bad things to you and your children. Are there any problems I have with this game? Yes. First off, the platforming levels. These suck. They're boring, they're not fun, and overall, they're just not very good. The only good thing about the platforming levels, and this only applies to Castle Beach, is the sound effect when you hit those crabs. I've already gone on and how much I loved that sound effect, so I won't go over it again. Next up are the free mini-games. Now first off, these mini-games are so beeping original! Oh.
The originality! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
I mean, Sebastian's Orchestra is a lame rip-off of Dance to the Music from Mario Party. Snowball Antics is a boring rip-off of Koopables from Mario Party, if that's even possible. And last but not least, Bubble Game is, well, okay, Bubble Game is possibly the most original game in this entire game, but that doesn't mean anything because Bubble Game is definitely a creative name. So original.
The originality! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
But possibly the dumbest thing in this game are the pearls. You see, in every level except for the fight with Morgana, the Ice Tower, there are a total of 55 of these pearls in the entire game. And what do you get when you collect all of them? Take a guess. You get nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. You don't get anything at all. Once you collect 45 out of the 55 pearls, you unlock Bubble Game, and then you've unlocked all of the mini games, and then the pearls are just useless. If you collecting all the pearls is useless because once you've collected most of the pearls, you've already won. So there's no point of collecting the pearls. They don't give you a better ending. It's just that when you collect most of them, you unlock all 3 mini games. At least give us a point to collect every single pearl in the mini game or game. That is just so annoying. And you can't see me just because I'm proving to you that this game has nothing when you beat it with all of the pearls. Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Are there any good things about the game? Well, it looks nice, and it sounds nice, and the sound effects are okay, and the voice acting's not too bad, and it's a nice little short game. And by the way, the game is extremely short. There are only like 12 levels, and you can easily beat it in 100 hours. Just under 2 hours if you collect everything, which is useless. But yeah, the game looks nice, it sounds nice, and while the game's not very fun, it's definitely not awful to play. It works well, and overall, it's decent. That's all I can say. Decent. I'd like to mention that when you die, that happens. That scared me a lot back when I was a kid, or a younger kid, and the load times are, well, they're quiet for one thing, and second off, they're long. Trust me, if the load times get longer than that, I promise you that they do. Overall, The Little Mermaid 2 on the PS1 is okay. I mean, would you really expect this game to be good? But it's okay. It looks nice, it sounds nice, it plays okay. And while the bosses are very easy, the game is very easy and very short. The game still has a bit of variety, even if the variety's not very good. And overall, it's a harmless game. If you have little girls, then I'm sure they'll get some enjoyment out of it. I give this game a D. A solid D. It's just okay. I recommend it if you have little girls, but other than that, there's no other point to buy the game. But it's definitely functional, and it works, and it's decent. It's not bad by any means, and while the mini-games suck, everything else about the game is okay. And if you have little girls, I recommend it. But if you don't have any little girls, then, or a system that can handle this game, then there's no point buying it at all. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. This is Big Bang Bot signing out.
Can you feel